What's your family's darkest secret? A couple of weeks ago I found out that my wife cheated on me 6 years ago. The way I found out is that her sister told me after going to visit her to find out how the delivery of her first child was. She confessed to me that 6 years ago my wife told her that she slept drunk with her best friend. In her words, my wife was very sorry. At the time she told me I was with my son, and immediately after leaving her house, I went to take a paternity test with him, fearing the worst. A week later I got the results and my fears came true. My son was not mine, and for some reason, I began to see the boy differently, more as an acquaintance than a son. With proof in hand, I confronted my wife at night when the child was sleeping. She asked me who told me, and I simply told her that it was none of her business, although obviously, it would not take long to connect the dots that it was her sister. Well, that is not my problem now. Regardless of that, I asked her for a divorce, which is now in process. She was devastated. She swore to me more than once that nothing would happen with anyone again, and that she has been faithful to me in body and soul since then. I held back the urge to insult her to avoid complications during the divorce issue, not believing a word she said, mostly blaming the alcohol instead of taking the blame herself. After talking about it, she threatened me, saying that she would demand full custody of the child. I was so annoyed at that moment that I told her, okay, I don't want anything to do with something that is not mine, that she keep the child and I'll keep the dogs. After my words she tried to convince me to take care of the child with her, that I am his father. At that moment I exploded. I was so angry and I had held back so much the urge to scream that I just yelled at her to go and take her bastard with her. A week had passed since then, and she went to her parents' house with her kid. She has not called me since then. She left with everything and the half-asleep kid when I yelled at her, especially since it was the first time I really yelled at her. It sure affected her. I talked to my parents and my dad told me that I did the right thing and that I shouldn't be raising something that is not of my blood. I agree with him. However, the pain is still there. I am currently seeing a therapist 3 times a week, who told me that I have already taken the first step, which was to leave behind what causes me pain. It just hurts to know that my family no longer exists. Regarding why my sister-in-law told me everything, according to her, she felt guilty seeing me always happy with my son, knowing that he may not be mine, and that the fact that we went to visit her in a moment of weakness caused her to completely break down with guilt. I don't know how true that is. I just know that right now I feel tremendous hatred for my wife and a feeling of pain and resentment for the child, although it's just time to get ahead. My therapist recommended that I not see him or her, and that regardless of the child's feelings, I should focus on my own first. That the child is no longer my problem, and the sooner I accept it, the better. Not even 3 days later my ex came to my house and asked to come in. I went out and met her at the door. I told her that she was not going to set foot in my house while I was here, and if she was going to say anything, let it be at the door. She practically begged me to take her son back, that if I wanted to cut off all contact with her, that's fine, that she deserves it, but that she can't raise a child alone, that she has a job and raising him alone is going to destroy her dream of being a notary. I tried to explain to her in the calmest way I could that my therapist was the one who recommended I cut off all contact with the two of them, and to please leave my door before I lost my mind. I love the child, but I don't want to take out my anger on an innocent, even less considering that this innocent child is the product of her inability to keep her legs closed. The child deserves better, and she is currently responsible for giving it to him. I don't know how, but that's not my problem anymore. After that we talked a little more. She resisted the urge to try to cry and make a scene because, once again, we were on the street and she is someone who always took into account what people said about her. The last thing she asked me was to at least let her see the dogs. I told her no, that the best thing is for them to get used to her absence. Seeing her again after so much time will only make them euphoric. After that she just nodded and left. 2 days after that she called me when she received the divorce papers. My mistake was answering the phone because immediately after about 30 minutes she was yelling, to which I later managed to say that the papers must have the number of my civil lawyer, so she can call her if she has any questions. After that I silenced her number. She has not come to my house since then nor tried to call again. That same day I contacted a friend that I made during my master's degree and I told her to go out. She accepted, and well, we've been going out since then. Finally last Friday I told her to be an exclusive couple and she accepted. She has slept at my house for a few days, and she already knows my dogs and adores them, which I appreciate because I couldn't start something with someone who doesn't accept my pets. Started from the bottom, now we're here.